Alright, welcome to my C tutorial. I guess we can just get started, but before, I just want to let y'all know, if this is your first time coding, C's a pretty good language to start with. It's very simple. It can get very complicated, but the basic ideas are very simple. This series shouldn't be too long. I'll just start off with, also by the way, how to set up, if you're on Mac, which I'm on, basically just use Xcode for now. And if you don't want to do it, look up another tutorial on how to set up GCC or something. But I'm using Xcode. So just download Xcode and just click create new project. Click command line tool. Next, name it whatever. Put it to C because we're learning C. And then C projects. Now, just delete all that. Don't worry about that. We'll start by writing this line for what we're going to write. This is essential for pretty much anything. And basically what this does is it just basically takes, if you're familiar with any other programming language, it'll help you, it just basically takes the contents of one file, one program, and puts it in this, and it gives you a bunch of access to a bunch of functions and variables and whatever. And if you don't know what that is, it's fine. Just worry about that later. It doesn't really matter right now. Just know that it's necessary for this program. And this is what I'm writing right now. It's called a function, and you need a main function to every program. It's automatically ran. Don't really worry about it. I'll explain it more in a different video, and we'll go more in depth in functions and stuff. Every function has to, every function, most functions have to have a return value. So for the main function, you just return 0. It just means basically the program ran successfully. I'm just adding new lines for organization purposes. And to write your first program, you just write this. This is called a function call, basically just telling the computer to do something that was written by another person or yourself, and if you get more complicated into it. But this is probably the first function you're going to write if you're programming in C. It just, you pass into the parentheses text, whatever. You can type whatever you want. Just type hello world and new line. Don't worry about most of this because I'll explain in more depth. I'm just trying to show you what a basic C program looks like. If you're in, you should be in Xcode because it's just makes the tutorial simpler. But if you're not, you should know how to run it and whatever. But we're in Xcode, so I'm just gonna click this after writing that. Before I run it though, actually I'm just gonna run it real quick. I'll show you what it does. This should print hello world to the console. Right down here, it printed hello world. To explain what everything does, this gives us access to this function and a bunch of others. So just basic functions, and what a function is, you don't really have to worry about that right now. Basically, it's just a block of code, a bunch of code that is just, you can call it by typing the name of it and then parentheses and passing in arguments or parameters. What those are is just data for the function to use so it can give the proper output. But this is the file we need to import or include to run this function, because this file that we included into this file contains this function, this block of code that runs. And basically what this does is you can type in anything in here and it'll print it out to the console. So basically, yeah, you just call this, type in this, and then pass in the parameters, the values, the data, whatever you want to call it, arguments. Pass in. It doesn't really matter what you call it if you're first learning. It's just know that this is text. Anything in quotes is a text, and inside the quotes is what's going to be printed to the console. This is just the function call, and I've kind of gone over this enough, but to sum it up, this just calls a block of code that takes this data and prints it to the console. And you end every line in a block of code in a semicolon, so when the code is being ran and compiled or whatever, it knows when to stop. Why this doesn't is because this is closed. It's closed, and this is a special line. I'll go more into detail in later tutorials. This tutorial series is not going to be super in-depth on every little thing, but I'm going to teach you, the basics, like, you don't even know what else means, but like if statements, while loops, for loops, switch statements, functions, pointers, structs, enums, includes, some of the standard library, most of the basic syntax. I'm not going to go into much detail on macros and header files, and maybe in later tutorials, but for now I'm just going to do basic stuff so you can actually get a program up and running, make a game. We might make a video where make a game out of this, just a little guessing game maybe. But yeah, this is just a basic program. You don't need to know what most of this means yet. I'll go into more detail and explain more later so you actually understand this. But for now, all you know is that you can pretty much pass in anything. I'll just pass in like a bunch of gibberish and save it, run it, and it'll just type it out. And there's no new line, so it's just gonna print right there. New line. Then yeah, it just prints that out right there, and that's pretty much it for the first introduction tutorial. It just basically says, basically just telling you how to put something in the console. It's very most basic level of coding is just putting something into the console. I recommend for this tutorial series that you have a little bit of coding experience, but you don't really need any. I'm going to go over most of the basic concepts, and I'm glad if you're learning C for your first language, because it is a very good language, C and C++. I might do a C++ tutorial series, but I feel like I don't know enough. Like I know most stuff about C++, classes, namespaces, most of the new syntax and whatever, but I feel like I'm not knowledgeable enough on C++ yet to do a full tutorial, because I'm still learning myself. I've been learning C++ for over a year now, but I want to learn more. I want to know more about C++, because C is much a simpler language. It's easier to teach, easier to learn. C it's a very low level language. If you know what that means, it basically just means it's closer to the actual computer. There's less steps. It's just it gets turned straight into machine code, and it just ran straight off machine code. Basically, that's what happens. I mean, there's more steps to it, of course, but it basically just gets turned into machine code, and the machine code is ran straight from that. And that's for most coding languages, but C is very fast because it's very low level. There's not a lot of hand holding. It's a lot of manual things. You have to manage your own memory and do a lot of stuff manually. Declare data types, which is kind of natural for a lot of programmers. In most programming languages, you have to declare data types, except higher level ones like Python and Ruby, and you just kind of say the variable name and then say what it equals to. It's a lot easier to learn those languages, but there's a lot more to it. The syntax is simpler, but there's a lot more to the language. So C is a very good starter language. It's simple. Um, Programs can get very complex because you have to do everything yourself. I mean, there's libraries, and I'll explain how to link libraries in Xcode. I might get on my other computer and show you how to link libraries in Windows and on GCC. I can do that on this computer too, but basically, that's a big part of it too, is knowing how to link libraries. You need, unless you want to write your own libraries for a bunch of stuff, then you're probably going to need external libraries. And, and you probably don't even know what a library is if you're new to programming, but it's basically just a set of code that someone else wrote that makes your life easier. Um, that's pretty much it. But like for example, OpenGL, it's like a graphics API, and again, you don't have to know what that is, but it's it's something you need a library for. You can't just write that yourself. I mean, you could, but you would have to write your own implementation of OpenGL, and it would be very, very long and difficult. I don't think anyone wants to do that. And then on top of writing that implementation, you have to write all the extra code. But I'm going into too much detail. It doesn't really matter. This is just a basic, simple introduction to Hello World, showing you what kind of C looks like, showing you the basics of a basic program. I'm just kind of running down what the series is going to look like, just basic stuff. I'm going to teach you a lot. Most of the language, you're probably going to be pretty much an expert at C by the time you're done with the series. And I hope to make it pretty short, go over a lot in a short video, but I do go on and ramble or whatever. But yeah, that's it. This is just an introduction tutorial. Goodbye.